My mom's new fiancé tried to shoot my dog down because he's allergic to dog. So I was forced to move to Grandpa's. But what he did next changed everything.
Hey Reddit, I usually only lurk here, but things have gotten out of hand, so I figured I would post her. So let's just start with this. I, 17 male, didn't leave because I'm rebellious. I left because the guy my mom's marrying told me he'd shoot my dog. Yeah, that's what it came down to. It's been almost 2 years since my dad died. Construction accident. No warnings, no goodbye. One minute he was helping me fix my bike in the garage, the next I'm sitting in a church watching people pretend to cry. I was 15. Somehow things are even worse. We had Dax since I was 11. My dad picked him out from the shelter after he got laid off for a bit. Said, "You look like a guy who needs a purpose." He was talking about the dog, but maybe also about himself. Dax was this goofy mutt with floppy ears and paws too big for his body. Real loyal, real protective. Slept beside me every single night. The only living thing in this house that never let me down. And then came Anthony. My mom, 42 female, met him through some dumb work mixer. He sells houses, wears polos tucked into jeans, and has this weird habit of standing too close to people when he talks. I hated him immediately, but I kept it quiet at first. I thought maybe if I just stayed out of the way, he'd fade out like her other boyfriends. But nah, dude stuck around, fast. By month 5, he had a drawer in the bathroom. By month 7, he was in the kitchen telling me how much screen time I should have, like I'm 10 or something. He started calling me sport and champ, and I swear if I heard him say, "You're the man of the house now," one more time, I was gonna scream. Then one day, random weekday, right before dinner, he says the line I'll never forget. He looks me dead in the eye and says, "Either I shoot that dog, or you're out of this house." Just like that. No warm-up. No, we need to talk. Just full psycho mode. I laughed at first because I legit thought he was joking, but the guy didn't blink. He wasn't bluffing. He had this creepy deadpan expression like he'd thought it through. And I looked at my mom, expecting her to tell him off, call him crazy, say something. Anything. She didn't. She just sat there. Didn't even look at me. Just picked at her stupid salad like none of this was happening. I stood up, told them both to go to hell, and locked myself in my room with Dax. I could hear Anthony pacing the hallway after, pretending to whisper to her even though he wanted me to hear. He needs to learn boundaries. He's just trying to manipulate you. He's using that dog like a weapon. Weapon? Really? That night I packed a bag. I didn't know where I'd go yet, but I knew I wasn't staying here. I called my grandpa the next morning. My dad's dad. He's not big on phones or emotions, but he listened. I told him what Anthony said. I didn't even finish the sentence before he goes, "Come stay with me. You bring that dog. You bring your things. Now." No hesitation. "No, are you sure? Just come home." The next part got nasty. When I told my mom I was leaving, she barely looked up from her coffee. Just said, "Don't do this. You're overreacting." No apology, no concern, just brushing it off like I was being dramatic. Anthony, on the other hand, smirked. I'll never forget that smug little smirk. Like he thought he won. He leaned in real close and said, "This is why your mom needs a real man around. She's tired of cleaning up after a little boy pretending he's grown." That was it. That was the last straw. I left that night. Didn't even say goodbye. My uncle, my dad's younger brother, drove me to Grandpa's place. It's a solid hour away, in the middle of nowhere. His house smells like old wood and coffee. There's this ancient recliner that creaks like it's alive, and a TV that only gets 3 channels. But it's peaceful. It's quiet. Dax loves the yard. He runs around like he owns the land. And for the first time in years, I slept like a rock. The morning after I moved in, my grandpa sat me down at the kitchen table. He poured me a cup of coffee and said, "Your dad would have knocked that man's teeth out." I didn't say anything. I just stared at the cup. Then he added, "Your mother, she used to be strong. I don't know what happened." That's when he made his move. Picked up the phone, dialed her number, and didn't even let her finish saying hello before he spoke. "If you don't leave that man," he said, voice cold and low, "your husband told me before he passed away to give you half of his savings, and he gave me full control over the distribution of his inheritance. So as long as you're with that man, you won't receive a single thing. Not from me, nor from my son. You're out of the will. Don't test me." Then he hung up. I sat there, stunned. Grandpa doesn't bluff either. Since then, she's been texting, calling, asking me to talk, saying things like, "You don't understand what it's like to be alone, and I just want peace in this family." But it's always followed by some crap like "Anthony's trying," or "You hurt me by leaving." She still won't say she was wrong. Still won't say she chose him over me. But I see it now. She did. She made her choice. So I made mine. Now I take online classes from Grandpa's study. Dax sleeps under the desk. We go for walks. I help Grandpa with yard work. It's not fancy, but it's real. I feel like I can breathe again. And Anthony? That dude doesn't know it yet. But this story isn't over. He thought he could scare me out. He thought threatening a kid's dog was the move. He's gonna regret that. I've got time, and I've got help. And Grandpa? He's more dangerous than he looks. Living with my grandpa wasn't supposed to be forever. I figured it'd be a temporary thing, just until I graduated. But after that threat Anthony made, after the way my mom just sat there and let him say it, I stopped thinking short term. Something shifted. I was done playing keep the peace. This was war now. The first week at Grandpa's, I didn't really do much. Slept late, walked Dax, sat around in silence. Grandpa didn't push. He's not one of those talk everything out kind of guys. But I caught him watching me sometimes. Not in a weird way. Just like he was trying to figure out what I needed without asking. Every now and then he'd toss me something random. A screwdriver, a newspaper, a box of old receipts. Always with some quiet task behind it. Like, here, fix this. Or, see what's worth keeping. I didn't realize it at first. But he was giving me pieces of my dad. Teaching me stuff the way he used to teach him. Like a handoff. And it worked. I stopped feeling stuck. Meanwhile, my mom kept blowing up my phone. Texts, missed calls, voice messages where she tried being soft one minute and guilt-tripping the next. I raised you alone for 2 years, and this is how you repay me? Anthony says we should go to counseling as a family. This isn't what your father would have wanted. Yeah? Neither is threatening to shoot the dog he rescued. I ignored all of it. Then came the letter. A literal paper envelope in the mailbox. No stamp, no postmark. Someone drove it out and dropped it off. Inside was a typed note from Anthony, because of course he's the kind of guy who types threats. You need to come home before this situation becomes irreversible. Your mother is distressed. If you think hiding behind an old man and a dog makes you brave, you're wrong. I'm still your father figure, whether you like it or not. Time to grow up, boy. That word. Boy. I saw red. I brought the letter inside and showed Grandpa. He read it once. Didn't say a word. Just folded it neatly, put it back in the envelope, and stuck it in a drawer next to a revolver I hadn't seen until then. I don't need to read another one of those, he said. We didn't talk for the rest of the night, but I knew he was thinking, planning. Next morning, he handed me an old Polaroid from the fridge door. It was me and my dad with Dax as a puppy. We were on the front lawn, and my dad had this huge grin, like he'd finally figured something out. He brought Dax home for you, Grandpa said. Not her. Not that prick. You. That dog was for your heart. I took that photo, put it in my wallet, and decided I wasn't just gonna hide anymore. This dude thought he could scare me off, push me around, break me with typed letters and smug one-liners. Nah, I had something he didn't. Memory, loyalty, time. That night I went through Grandpa's office. He let me, said I could look around for anything I wanted to keep. I found a file labeled Carter Family, Deed, Trust, Assets. Inside was the full legal trail of our family's land. Turns out, Grandpa owns more than just the house. The land stretches out past the woods, down to the creek, almost 10 acres. It used to be part of a cattle farm, long before I was born. And it's worth a lot now. Then I found something else. His will. Guess who's listed as the sole heir? Me. Not my mom. Not her charming fiancé. Just me. When Grandpa came back in with 2 mugs of tea, I asked him straight up, "You serious about cutting her out?" He sipped, nodded. Already did. A year ago. Right after she stopped coming around unless she needed something. I sat with that for a second. That meant everything. Everything they thought they could grab. Everything they probably assumed was going to help them buy a better life. It was mine. Legally. Quietly. Already done. That's when I realized I had leverage. But I didn't want just money or land. I wanted something deeper. Something that would leave a mark on Anthony the way he tried to mark me. So I came up with a plan. Not just petty revenge, something smarter. Colder. It started with a dog park. Well, technically a private canine rehabilitation center. Sounds fancier, right? I pitched it to Grandpa like a joke at first, but the more we talked, the more it made sense. We've got the land, the space, the contacts. His old friend used to run a shelter. And I've got the story. We started filing paperwork. LLC, business name, layout sketches, all of it. We called it Coda's Run, after Grandpa's first dog. But in the mission statement, I made sure the story of Dax was front and center. The abused, threatened, nearly abandoned dog who got a second shot and now helps others get theirs. I posted the launch online. TikTok, Reddit, local community boards, told the story like it was. No drama, just facts. A teen pushed out by a cruel stepfather, saved by his dog and his grandpa, building something better from the wreckage. It blew up. Overnight, I had thousands of shares. Animal rescue groups started reaching out. Local news DM'd me asking for interviews. And the best part? My mom saw it. She didn't comment, didn't message, but I saw her view the story. Then she sent a single text, "What are you doing?" I didn't answer. I let the silence speak. Because what I'm doing, Ma, is living. And soon, I'm gonna make that man regret ever thinking he could treat me like property and threaten something I love. The land is mine. The name is mine. The legacy? It's mine too. And Anthony? He hasn't even seen the real hit coming yet. Anthony thinks he's slick. The kind of guy who smiles while he stabs. Who calls you on right before he ruins your life. He's the human version of a Bluetooth headset. Loud, obnoxious, and always trying to sell something nobody asked for. After the letter and my grandpa's threat about the will, my mom backed off for a little while. But only on the surface. You could feel it. Something simmering underneath. She was sending messages through family. Tell him I miss him. Ask him if he needs money. The usual guilt bait. I didn't respond. I'd seen this playbook too many times. I stayed quiet, focused on building the business with Grandpa. Coda's run started picking up steam. Not just online hype, real support. Donations, volunteers, 2 local vets offering part-time help. Grandpa's barn became a rehab space. Fenced the back field. Got the permit approvals fast, thanks to a lady from church who knew someone at the county office. Old people networking is terrifyingly efficient. I told the story every time someone asked. Never added drama, just the truth. My stepdad said he'd shoot my dog. My mom watched. So I left. That one sentence got more support than I ever imagined. People don't like cruelty, especially when it's wrapped in a smile and a button-down shirt. The more I told the story, the more people saw through the fake father figure routine Anthony tried to pull online. Yep, you read that right. Anthony had an online presence. Turns out he runs this little YouTube channel called Family Fortress, where he gives parenting advice for blended homes. Real-life cringe. He'd post these 5-minute videos with titles like Becoming Dad When He Already Has One and Earning Respect Without Force. Meanwhile, this is the same guy who threatened to kill a dog. I found the channel during one of those sleepless nights where you just start Googling names out of spite. I watched one video and almost punched my laptop. It was like watching a criminal give a TED Talk about honesty. That's when I got the idea. See, the beauty of a lie is that it crumbles when you hold up a mirror. And I had a damn mirror the size of a billboard. So I clipped a section of one of his videos where he says, "A true father never leads with fear. He leads with love and stability." Then I cut to a shot of Dax curled up next to me, with the text overlay. This is the dog he threatened to shoot. Posted it to TikTok. Didn't say his name. Didn't even mention my mom. Just the clip, the quote, and the dog. Video blew up. 300,000 views in 2 days. People started asking questions, connecting dots. Commenters did what they always do. Found the original YouTube channel and went wild in the comments section. He tried turning off replies. Didn't work. People screen recorded. Posted elsewhere. Now the mask was slipping. That weekend I got a visit. Didn't expect it. Didn't get a heads up. Just heard tires crunching the gravel, and there she was. My mom. Standing by her car in some fancy coat, looking like she didn't recognize the property she grew up on. She didn't come inside. She stood at the edge of the yard like it was radioactive. "Can we talk?" she called out. Grandpa came out first. Didn't say a word. Just stood next to me. "I didn't know he was posting those videos," she said, trying to play calm. "He says things. You know how he gets. But you made him look abusive in front of thousands of people." "Yeah," I said. "Because he is." She flinched like I'd slapped her. Then she said it. "You're ruining his career." Grandpa stepped forward and pointed a finger at her like he was casting a damn spell. "That man threatened a boy's dog. He's lucky that's all that's ruined." She started crying. But it was the performative kind. The kind she used when Dad forgot an anniversary, or when the cable got shut off because she missed a bill. It didn't land. He's trying to fix things. He's trying to protect this family. I stared at her. There's no family here. That's when Grandpa hit her with the line that ended it. "Leave that man, or I leave you." She froze. No fake tears now, just silence. She turned and got back in the car. Didn't look back. Later that night, Grandpa and I sat outside with Dax. No TV, No noise. Just the dog laying across both our feet like a bridge between two broken generations. I asked Grandpa if he meant it. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. We went back to work the next day, got our business cards printed, started doing intake forms for new rescues. My uncle got us a trailer discount through a guy he works with, so we started converting one into a mobile rehab unit. Meanwhile, Anthony's YouTube channel? Gone. Vanished. But I wasn't done. This dude tried to rewrite my life like I was some footnote in his story. He tried to steal my home, my dog, my dad's memory, and worst of all, he tried to turn my mom into a puppet, and she let him. So I started digging, and I found something. Not illegal, just embarrassing. Turns out Anthony got fired from his old brokerage 2S ago for unethical client manipulation, but he'd scrubbed it from his record. Started fresh with a new firm. Used a new name, middle name instead of first. But paper trails are funny things. They don't burn clean. I've got what I need now. Not to destroy him, but to unravel him, piece by piece. And when it lands, it's not just going to ruin his rep, it's going to make people ask one thing. How did nobody see who this man really was? Stay tuned. After the video takedown and the driveway standoff, I expected silence. But people like Anthony don't stay quiet. They regroup, play victim, rebrand. He disappeared off YouTube, sure, but not offline. I knew he'd find another angle. And my mom? She stayed ghosted after Grandpa's threat. No calls, no texts, which meant they were planning something. Or maybe waiting me out. Either way, I wasn't going to wait around. See, I never wanted to just embarrass Anthony. I wanted him exposed. I wanted the entire curtain yanked down. Everything he hid behind. The dad act, the polished smile, the fake business charm. I wanted people to look at him and only see the fraud. And I wanted it to hurt. But it had to be smart. No fights, no drama. Just facts with teeth. So I did what he never thought I'd do. I started helping his ex-clients. Turns out, the ethical concerns that got him dropped from his old brokerage weren't a one-time slip. He'd done the same shady stuff at his new firm, pushing bad properties to single moms, burying inspection results, pressuring older folks to sell below market so he could flip to buddies. It was all buried under NDAs and scared silence. But once people saw that TikTok video of him talking about fatherhood, a few of them started reaching out. The thing about people who get screwed over? They remember. They just don't always know someone else got hit too. Once they did, it was like dominoes. One lady, Miss Raymond, said he sold her a house with black mold in the basement, never disclosed. Her kids got sick. Another guy said Anthony pressured his grandpa to sell after a free home evaluation, then sold the place to his own cousin. And they were mad. Quiet mad. The kind that boils. So I created a site. Nothing fancy. Just a public submission form and a single page. If you've had dealings with Anthony Reyes and believe you were misled, submit your story. All identities will be protected. This is not a smear campaign. This is a pattern. I use the name The Reyes File. It spread fast. First week, 12 submissions. Week 2, 39. Some had receipts. Literal receipts, emails, text chains. One had a voice recording of him saying, "No one reads inspection reports. Let's be real." I made sure all the stories were fact-checked, anonymized, and real. No gossip, no editing, just the truth. Then I let it marinate. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, things were looking solid. Coda's run had officially launched. We had a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Local paper ran a story. Grandpa wore his old Vietnam jacket and said, "I haven't smiled this much since Disco died." But that day something else happened. We got an uninvited guest. Anthony. Yep. He pulled up in his shiny black Ford, unannounced. Parked like he owned the place. Got out with that smug face like he'd just come from a job interview and assumed he nailed it. Grandpa and I were at the gate when he approached. Dax growled so hard it vibrated through the gravel. Anthony didn't flinch. He looked me in the eye and said, "You've made your point. It's time to come home." I didn't answer. He took a step closer. "You don't know what you're playing with. This little game of yours. People get hurt." I said, "Good." He blinked, confused. "I want you to get hurt. That's the whole point." His jaw tightened. "You're throwing away your future for a mutt and a shack." Grandpa stepped in then, and I swear I thought he was going to clock him. But he didn't. He just said, "Leave this land, boy, and don't come back." Anthony laughed. A fake, short bark. "You old men and your land. You think you're kings out here." "No," Grandpa said. "We just know where the snakes hide." Anthony left, but that smile didn't. It stayed behind like a stink. And I knew he was going to strike back. He always does. But I also knew something he didn't. That same week, a local investigative reporter contacted me. They'd seen the Reyes file, asked for an interview. I said yes, and I brought receipts, emails, contracts, signed NDAs from people willing to talk, now that someone else broke the silence. We filmed the segment in Grandpa's barn. Real simple setup. Just me, the dog, and a folder full of truth. The story aired a week later. Primetime. Realtor accused of threats, fraud, and animal cruelty by stepson and former clients. They didn't say my name on air, but they said enough. And right after it aired, I posted a clip to the Coda's Run page with a statement. This business was built from a boy and a dog who got thrown out so a fraud could play house. We built something better. He built a lie. Truth wins. By morning, Anthony's brokerage had suspended him. Sponsors for his parenting podcast, yeah, he had one of those too, dropped him. His site went down. My mom texted me at 2 a.m. Just, what have you done? I didn't respond. I just posted a photo of Dax asleep in my lap with the caption, still here, still safe. Let her sit with that. Because the next part of this, it's not about revenge. It's about taking everything he built on my back and burying it. Deep, where it can't crawl back up. Anthony disappeared after the news dropped. No social posts, no more podcast clips, no smirking selfies in suits. Silence. The kind of silence that tells you someone's busy trying to stop the bleeding before they even look at the wound. But I wasn't done. The dude didn't just try to wreck my life. He tried to replace my dad. Erase him. Move into our house, take my room, rename our dog Buddy once. Yeah, that actually happened. That smug bastard walked around the kitchen one day, whistling, calling for Buddy. Dax didn't even blink. He knew better. So I didn't feel bad for what I did next. See, Anthony's not just a fraud. He's a guy who builds his whole life on appearances. The clothes, the fake laugh, the home photos with filters that make everything look like a Hallmark catalog. So I figured, why not wreck the image he cares about the most? The house. Technically, it's my mom's house. But it's the same house my dad bought. Paid for it with overtime and busted knuckles. That roof meant something. Now it's got Anthony's ugly chrome license plate parked in the driveway like he owns the place. So I hit up Uncle Rob, Dad's younger brother, HVAC guy, knows houses inside out. I told him everything. Every slimy move Anthony made, including the dog threat. Rob isn't the emotional type, but when I told him that part, he just said, get in the truck. We drove past the house the next day. Looked normal from the front, but Rob knew where to look. He noticed new windows, brand new AC unit sticking out the side, security camera setup that was installed wrong. It tilted like it had a lazy eye. Typical Anthony half-done job. Then Rob smiled and said something I didn't expect. You know he's flipping it, right? What? The house. He's getting it ready to sell. Probably trying to convince your mom to move. Start fresh or whatever BS these types say. That hit hard. That house was the last place my dad ever stood. His boots were still in the garage. His handprints were literally in the concrete by the shed. And now this guy was getting it ready to sell like it's just another property to list on Zillow? Nah, that wasn't gonna fly. So I started digging. Not metaphorically. I mean literally. I showed up one night after they were out, lights off, no car, and used the spare key I never gave back. Dax came with me. He stood watch while I went to the backyard. See? There's this box buried behind the shed. My dad and I buried it when I was 12. Dumb little time capsule thing. Inside, my first report card, a photo of us and Dax, and one letter Dad wrote that said, if we ever move, dig this up. I dug it up, took everything out, replaced it with something else. A flash drive. A flash drive labeled, not for sale. Inside the flash drive, every file from the Reyes file, every testimonial, every clip, a copy of the local news piece, screenshots of the threats, and a final video of me, sitting on the porch at Grandpa's, saying, this is the house my father bought, the one Anthony Reyes tried to use for his brand. If you're buying this place, just know, it was nearly the home of a man who threatened to kill a dog, a man whose career was built on pressure and lies. Good luck staging that. I buried it again. Same spot. Real shallow this time. Then I posted a link to the video on local homebuyer forums, and I sent it anonymously to 3 realtors in town, including the brokerage he just got suspended from. Couple days later, I heard from a neighbor. The for sale sign disappeared. So did Anthony's car. No one's seen him since. Word on the street? Buyer backed out last second. Someone sent them a buyer beware package. All legal. All true. My mom texted me that night. Just, why are you doing this? I ignored it. Then she tried again. This isn't helping anything. It's making things worse. I replied, you already made it worse. I'm just showing people the wreckage. After that, I blocked her. Harsh? Maybe. But I was done letting guilt talk louder than truth. Back at Grandpa's, things were calm, peaceful. We'd just gotten a rescue shepherd in with a busted leg. We named him Hank. Dax likes him. Sleeps next to his crate. Grandpa and I were sitting on the porch one night. Cool air, bugs humming, and he handed me a folded piece of paper. It was a deed. To the land. Signed over to me. It's yours now, he said. I'm just living on it. I stared at it. Couldn't even talk. You've earned something permanent, he said. Let that man float around with his fake smiles and nowhere to land. You stay rooted. That's when I realized something. Anthony could move. He could rebrand. He could delete accounts, start new ones, shift blame. But he'll always be running from something. Me? I don't have to run. Because I built something real. Out of hurt, yeah. But it's solid. It's mine. And the man who tried to be my dad? He's a ghost now. And ghosts don't own land. I didn't hear from them for weeks after I buried that flash drive. Not a peep. The house sat there dark half the time. Mail piled up in the box. No porch lights. It looked abandoned. And maybe it was. Then one morning, I got a text from my mom. Just a location drop in 5 words. Come alone. It's important. I ignored it for a few hours. Then I showed Grandpa. He nodded slow, then reached into his coat pocket and handed me something without a word. It was his will. Updated, signed, notarized. He tapped the paper once and said, she gets nothing. It's airtight. I asked why he was showing me. He said, because she's going to ask for something, and you need to know the answer is no. He wasn't wrong. I drove out just before dusk. Dax stayed with Grandpa. I didn't want him anywhere near her. The location wasn't the house. It was this weird cafe halfway between towns. One of those overpriced places with Edison bulbs and mismatched chairs. She was already there when I walked in, sitting by the window with a tea she probably didn't even like. She looked tired. Not in a rough week way. More like she hadn't had control of anything in months, and was realizing it too late. You came, she said. Why am I here? I said. She bit her lip like she was building up to something hard, then finally said it. He's gone. I blinked. What does that mean? Anthony. He left, took his stuff, took the car, left a note that said, you made your choice. I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to throw a party for her just because the trash took itself out. He's blaming you, she added. Said your videos ruined everything. Good, I said. She flinched. Then came the part I was waiting for. I need help, she said. The house is still in my name, but I can't afford the mortgage alone. I was hoping we could talk to Grandpa, ask for support, maybe get back into the will. There it was. I didn't even blink. No, she blinked. What? You had your shot. When he warned you. You picked Anthony. Now you're asking for a redo because you got left holding the check. She stared at me, jaw twitching. I didn't know he'd turn out like this, she muttered. I leaned in a little. You knew. The first time he insulted Dad? The first time he called me boy. The night he said he'd shoot Dax. And you said nothing. You knew. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I'm not mad anymore, I said. I'm not even sad. I'm just done. She didn't cry. I think she knew crying wouldn't work this time. You really won't help me? I did help you, I said. I gave you the chance to choose us. You didn't. She looked down, nodding. Maybe for the first time, she didn't have a comeback. I stood up to leave. As I walked past, she reached out and grabbed my wrist. Lightly, not forcefully. Do you hate me? I looked at her hand. It felt smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I just didn't care anymore. No, I said. But I don't trust you. And that's worse. And I left. Back at Grandpa's, the mood was quiet. He was in the garage sanding an old chair. Said nothing when I came in, just handed me a mask and kept working. That's how he talks when words aren't enough. Sawdust and sweat. After an hour, we sat on the porch with iced tea. She wanted money, I said. He nodded. She always does. She said Anthony's gone. Another nod. He always was. I laughed once. Just a short breath. Then he said something that stuck with me. Some people take family for granted. Others build it from scratch. And that was it. That's the line that locked it all into place. I wasn't rebuilding something broken. I was building something better. From scratch. The next few weeks were a blur. Coda's run started doing full capacity. We got 2 new fosters. Started a side program for therapy dogs, bringing them into local schools. Dax became our founding pup, front and center on everything. Shirts, flyers, the front gate sign. But the best part? The county invited us to speak at an animal rights fundraiser. And they asked me to share the story. not just the rescue part. All of it. I stood in front of a crowd of 200 people and told the truth about Anthony, about the threat, about the silence, and about the choice I made when I packed a bag and left the only home I ever knew. Not for drama, not for revenge, but because one person chose control over love, and I wasn't going to sit around and let that define me. The place went quiet. Then it roared. People clapped, cried, donated. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a builder, a survivor, a kid who made his own legacy out of scraps. Back home, Grandpa framed the newspaper article about the event, hung it next to a photo of my dad and me and Dax, taken when I was 12. He didn't say anything, just nodded once and went back to his coffee. I'm not sure if my mom ever saw it. Maybe someone sent it to her. Maybe she's still sitting in that half-empty house, wondering when Anthony's coming back, waiting for a phone call from someone who isn't calling. Either way, it's not my problem. Because the next chapter of my life, it doesn't include her. The first cold snap of the season came early this year. Morning frost on the windows, breath hanging in the air. The usual signal that life's about to slow down for a while. Out here on Grandpa's land, winter doesn't sneak in. It announces itself with cracking joints and thick blankets. Dax loves it, sleeps deeper in the cold, stretches out belly up by the space heater like he owns the place. In a way, he kind of does. None of this would have existed without him. Sometimes I just stare at him while he sleeps and think, "You saved me, old man. You didn't even know it, but you did." Coda's run is real now. Not just some backyard project. We got state registration, a website with wait lists, even a donation match from a foundation in Texas. 2 of our long-term dogs just got adopted, one by a retired firefighter, the other by a single mom with a little girl who calls him Sir Barks-a-Lot. We've got 4 volunteers, a brand new mobile vet trailer, and a quiet buzz starting to form around us. I got into a community college nearby. Online classes for now, mostly business and animal science. Not because I'm chasing a degree. I just want to know how to do this right. I've got no interest in walking across a stage in a gown. I already know who I am. Don't need a piece of paper to prove it. And Grandpa? He's better than I've ever seen him. The man who used to grunt through breakfast now laughs out loud watching Dax steal socks. He still walks with a limp, still swears when his knees lock up, but there's this new energy in him, like he finally got his house back, like he finally remembered what it feels like to have family that doesn't ask for anything but presents. He doesn't bring up my mom. Ever. I think he's done mourning that version of her. I guess I am too. But last week, something happened. We got a letter, not an email, not a text, a proper hand-addressed envelope with my name on it. From my mom. Inside was a short note and a photo. No return address. The note just said, "This is what I kept. I thought you might want it." The photo was old. Me, her, and my dad. At a fair somewhere, judging by the funnel cake in my hand and the haunted house banner behind us. We all looked happy. Not perfect. Just together. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I missed her, but because I finally didn't. And that realization hit hard. Not like a punch. Not like a wave. Just a quiet shift, like something heavy finally stopped leaning on me. I put the photo in a drawer,